This
Okay.
conference will now be recorded.
Now go to Data Explorer. I need to provide here also access. That is the reason you guys only Warners are having reader right. I need to add. This is the problem. I forgot to add you here. I think training batch 2 select. I need to put read right. All children items. If we have the thousands of children, please use access permission entry, default permission only. Okay, we will set this. Now you can try. I think you can able to create, no problem. I forgot to assign this one. Okay, fine. Operations to assign permissions to batch was not completed. What are the error? Permissions to slash and the children to on batch. It is saying completed, but here it is saying warning not completed. Okay, anyhow, 1 minute. I will. What is our data like Gen 1 Data Explorer access? You have okay, read write execution. Okay, fine, no issues. There may be warning. Okay, no problem. If you don't can't able to access on that one, today onwards mostly we will play with this data. Whatever I have in the whatever I have in the data folder, we can play with this data. Okay, no problem. Data here I will check whether permission is inherited or not. No, permission is inherited. User not covered above will be limited by these permissions. Okay, okay, you can read write execute. Okay, fine. Go to advanced. Contents apply to children also. Okay, that's fine. I think successfully copied permission. 40. Okay, fine, no issues. Fine. I think we will quickly start the today's session. Today onwards session will be very interactive. We are starting the coding, not like storage like kind of thing. Batch 2, I will start. Any questions before we are going to the next topic? Do you have any questions on the storage explorer? Day 5, day 6, okay. Any questions? I think I know you guys have some confusion on the Azure SQL service. Just you can read my PPT. If you have still questions, don't worry. While we are working on the ADF classes, anyhow, we will retrieve the data from the Azure SQL. So that time I will again explain the topics. If you are clear, no, that's fine. Otherwise, we will take another session while we are going to Azure Data Factory. And just a recap, we are Azure Storage. In this Azure Storage, we are discussed about the Storage Explorer. It's not Azure Blob Storage, Data Lake Gen 1, Data Lake Gen 2. Here there is a questions like what is the Azure Blob Storage? What is the Data Lake Gen 1? What is the Data Lake Gen 2? And another questions are how many types of replications or redundancy available in the blob storage? We have 4 types: LRS, local redundancy, GRS, ZRS, GZRS. Okay,
Generous.
and yeah, and coming to another question, what is the difference between Azure Blob Storage and Azure Data Lake one? They will ask definitely. And another question is, what is the difference between Azure Blob Storage? They don't ask like the way they ask like a difference between Data Lake Gen 1 and Gen 2. You need to tell Gen 2 is a combination of the Azure Blob Storage plus Data Lake Gen 1. You need to explain clearly. Just you can read our PPT, you can able to explain. And they will ask what is the difference between table storage and queue storage. When we can use table storage, if you have any data to that is in the table format and use it for the no SQL, we can use the table format, table storage. When you can use the queue, suppose if you want to do any message communication between the Azure services, we will use the Azure queue service. I will show you Azure queue service if possible. At the end of our session, I will communicate Azure queue with the event. So for example, whenever any file is ready, we will kick off our data factory pipeline. We will see that scenario if possible. If time permits, I will show you that one. I think that time you will clear about the Azure queue also. Okay. And different types of storage like blob storage, table storage, queue storage, disk storage, file storage. Just you can read it, and if anyone asks what are the differences or when you can use, just you can tell like that way. And coming to Azure SQL, first they will ask how many deployment types are there, how many ways we can able to create the Azure SQL. We have three ways. One is Azure SQL databases, second one is Azure SQL managed instance, third one is SQL server and virtual machine. In the Azure SQL database, what is the options they are provided to create the database? They will provide the D2 based approach, vCore approach. But in the Azure managed instance, we don't have D2U approach. Only we have the vCore approach. In the D2U approach also, again, they divide into three. One is simple, medium, hyper or complex something. Just you can read it. I think here, okay, basic, standard and premium. And the vCore, they will provide the general purpose, business critical and hyperscale. They will ask the question like, what do you mean by DTU? It is a measurement unit, how our SQL server consume the memory resources or IO. Based on that one, they will bill for our SQL server. Suppose if you go with vCore, they will based on your selection. If you selected two course mission and with some configuration, they will tell you for 1 month this will be charged. They will charge like that way. And in the Azure SQL databases, we have another option like we go with a serverless. Serverless means Microsoft don't allocated any dedicated memory for our Azure SQL databases, but whenever you are going to work on that one, they will create randomly or automatically, and once your job is done, they will roll back the memory and they will roll back all the allocations. So they will charge for particular that time only. But the problem is we are not guarantee when it will start. Maybe there is some latency to work on that one, but it is also a good option, but generally we don't go with that way. And another important option is elastic pool. What do you mean by elastic pool? It is the shared resources provided by Microsoft when we are going to configure the Azure SQL database. Clear, huh? So far? Today we will start a very important concept, Azure Data Lake Analytics. This is very good concept. I think here we need some coding techniques. Actually, whatever scripts we are writing in Azure Data Lake Analytics, we can call it as a USQL. USQL nothing but it is a combination of SQL plus C#. Little bit coding standards are required here, but I will tell you all the functions. If you know this function, that is enough to work on the real-time environment. Okay, clear, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
fine,
sir.
good. Shruti joined, huh? Shruti not joined. Okay, we can't do anything. Fine. And Ashwant and Raja.
Yes,
Raja
sir.
didn't join today.
He is already in the meeting.
I joined, sir.
Joined. Where I can see your name?
Oh.
HP. Maybe this one. Okay, fine. No issues. Okay, good. If you have any, I think today we will set up a session to discuss on the whatever backup sessions. Okay.
Okay,
after
sir.
this session.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
fine, good. I think from here onwards, this is a new topic. I think you can able to follow, but again, I am telling you, you need to practice. Here, whatever I am telling today, you can take that script, you can practice. Otherwise, very difficult to work on this Azure Data Lake Analytics. Okay, we will start quickly. Now going to presentation. Now here you can see our third topic is Azure Data Lake Analytics. In while I am discussing about this one, which one? Data Lake. What we mentioned, data lake is the storage to work with the big data loads. If you have a file, if you want to process, it will use the capabilities of the Hadoop HD insights or Hadoop cluster, and it will suitable to process the big data workloads. So for example, if you have a file in the Azure Data Lake, we need to write a script to process the data, so that the processing will be provided by the Azure Data Lake Analytics, nothing but SQL. If you here you can see the example. So for example, we have some source data is there. We are using data factory and we are ingest the data in the data lake gen 1 or gen 2, whatever it may be. Okay, both are the same capable feature to efficiently process the data. And so for example, I want to transform this data, or otherwise I want to clean up the data, or whatever it may be. You can, how you can do whatever data stored in this Azure Data Lake. We are using Azure Data Lake Analytics, and we can use the data for the reporting, or you can push the data to the Azure SQL data warehouse. And on top of Azure SQL, they will write some custom applications or dashboard. This is the place this data lake analytics come into the picture. It will analyze the data. So for example, here you can see, so for example, if you see Google logs or your personal mission logs, if you provide that CSV or TXT file to the end user, is it meaning? No, they can't able to understand. But you need to transform the data, and if you put it into some data warehouse or some Power BI report, then end user will able to understand. So we need some analytics tools to process that data. Here, that is the Azure Data Lake Analytics. In this place, we can able to use Databricks also. In this place, we can use this Spark script also, or Scala, whatever. So for example, we have the data. If you want to process whatever HD Insight or Hadoop compatible frameworks. So for example, if you use Python script, if you use Spark script, if you use Scala, but in the Microsoft world, they have provided the Azure Data Lake Analytics. Clear? We will discuss how we can, but this Azure Data Lake Analytics is tightly coupled with the data lake only. If the data is available in the data lake, it can able to process. I will show you. Here, just read it this one. Azure Data Lake Analytics, or ADLA, is one of the newer big data analytics engine. Don't get confused. EDLA, Azure Data Lake Analytics. EDL, Azure Data Lake. EDLA means Azure Data Lake Analytics. Is Microsoft fully managed on-demand analytics service on Azure Cloud, together with Azure Data Lake Storage and HD Insight. I think we discussed about while discussing about Azure Data Lake. Azure Data Lake is suitable to process any data using Hadoop compatible frameworks. Now we hear HD Insight. Azure Data Lake Analytics forms the complete cloud-hosted data lake and analytics offering from Microsoft. Azure Data Analytics introduced a new big data query and processing language called SQL. Whatever language we are writing here, we can call it as a SQL, like Scala, Python, whatever it may be, any Hadoop related. And first I will show you how you can write. Here, if you go to home, we need another service Microsoft provided to do such work. They have called it as data lake analytics. Data lake analytics. Here you can see data lake analytics. Okay. What I can do is I will create this one. First we will see some example, then we can come back to the theory. Just we are using the same whatever someone created resource group, don't create resource group, just you can use existing one only. This is RZ batch 2, and here we need to give the name. I can give it as data lake batch 2. Okay, and same here east to west. Why? Because my resource group at this one, here you can see, here you can see data lake storage gen 1. It is tightly coupled with data lake that one. So for example, here I can give, here I can make it as a 2, don't get confused, data lake analytics batch 2. Okay, here we need to couple with one of the storage account, data lake storage. So for example, if you have 3 storage accounts, you can choose one. Only whatever data available on that account, it will be processed. Clear? Huh? And the package, for example, we can go with a pay as you go or monthly commit. If you go to monthly commit, they will ask how much you want. Here you can say, for example, if you want 100 AU hours, it will be charged 7,203. So that is the reason it will charge more. So what I am suggesting is you need to utilize very efficiently. Don't run too many times. You can correct your script. You can run only one. My suggestion. So okay. Anyhow, for this training, we will go with pay as you. I think this is already there. So what I can do is batch to practice. Okay. Just this is the simple service we can able to create. Just if you review create, it will create. Just create. Here you can see subscription, resource group, location, pricing tier, account name, storage account type. This one. Now we can able to create.
We can't
Whatever.
choose.
Yes, please.
We can't choose storage gen 2.
We can. If you have Gen, it will show a Gen 2 also. You can. It will work for both Gen 1 and Gen 2.
Okay, sir.
I think nowadays this is they are also not interested to, most of the clients not interested to use SQL. Why? Because Microsoft telling this is very efficient and not cost effective, but by end of the day it is consuming a lot of money. Actually, they are charging more. That is the reason if you compare with Databricks, it is also similar cost. So clients are interested to go with the Databricks instead of this data lake analytics. But some scenarios it will be useful. That will be vary from client to client. So what we can do, we can go to resource. If you see, this is the icon. It will tell the data lake analytics, and here we have the options like we can provide the same permissions. So for example, access control, same left pane common mostly. Here we have the option new job, sample script, data explorer, view all jobs, add user wizard, delete, go to job something. First of all, what we need is, here you can see, if you go with this monthly commitment, they will tell here if you choose 100, after 100 it will be stopped. Not able to run any job. If you pay as you go, they will give the bill based on your usage. Now you can see estimated cost is 0.0, and once we run the jobs, they will charge based on that. Now what I can do is I will go with the simple script. Okay. Now if you want to write any script, just you can able to do new job. Not only this place we need to execute the job. Actually we can, if you write the job, you can able to write from the IDE like a Visual Studio or any notepad, wherever you can, but here you can able to run. Or otherwise what we can do in the real time is we can create the job, we can save this job in the data lake, and we will reference that job into the our data factory, and we will execute. I will show you while we are doing ADF. Right now you can just here you can see. So for example one. Right now I'm doing example one. So for example, 1 minute, I will open another tab here itself. Meeting here itself, same tab. Otherwise, every time if I switch, that's the problem. But here you need to put lot of epics. Why? Because this is a coding. So for example, yesterday I do something. I will tell you. So for example, okay, fine. Before that one, I told you what is our data lake. This is our data lake. For example, you can assume we are getting the data in a raw format in the one of the folder. So for example, I created the data folder. In that one, I defined the raw. Here you can assume I am getting some files. So for example, if you take SKU, for example, I am a SKU ID, name, stock, item IDs, H1 category. So for example, you can assume this, we want to transform this data. Or so for example, if you want to filter something, if you want to do some aggregation, everything it will take care. What we can do, so for example, what we can first, our example, just we can take this data and we will transform. Okay. Here we don't have any option to transform, but we will see. Okay. What I can do is here I created the two folders. My raw will be here. Whenever I do a refine, I will put it into the another location. You can create your location, your own location, you can put it, no problem. But right now I am using this one, data, the data raw and reference. For example, my raw means whatever data I am getting from the source. Whatever I am doing refine, I will push into the refinery. Now I will show you one simple script. I will provide all the scripts, don't worry. Now I write some scripts, I think so. View all jobs. Here we have the options. For example, multiple users are using. Suppose if you only go to your jobs, just you can go to my jobs. It will maybe all jobs are I only executed. That is the is showing. Or otherwise we have the option like filter on. For example, last 30 days or only whatever executing, whatever preparing, whatever querying, whatever status. For example, if you want to search by job name, job ID, or otherwise here you can go. Here you can see why this is filter is happened. I applied the my jobs. For example, if I reset, it will be low. Clear? Huh? Here it's this is only filter. That's only nothing. Now what I can do is I will take some simple job. Whatever I executed, suppose if I take SKU, I will give the script. Just you can execute. You can also practice. Now I will go to reuse script. My mouse is working very differently. Now what I can do is here I will copy. Next I will explain. Here you can see we need to tell the path of the input file. So for example, I can make this as a input file or in file. Generally we can, but just naming convention, input file. I know actually this is a SKU. I will show you here. If I go to my data lake, data explorer, here I have the data. In the raw folder I have SKU file is there. I want to transform this data. Okay, whatever file. Here you can see the path is data raw and SKU. How you can take it here is just you can click this one, and after that one you need to give the name of the file. This is the input file. Otherwise here we need to give the complete name also. Data like complete names, ADL, like that way. So for example, you can copy this one. Generally we don't go with that way. Why? Because it is tightly coupled with the data lake. So you can do this way also. If I go to Notepad, like this way, and SKU, or otherwise you can give complete path also. Here go to essential, you can take this one and you can append before this one. Either way is fine. You can give the complete name of the file or you can give the only from here. Why? Because it will understand. Why? Because we are using this DL batch 2 while we are creating the data lake analytics. Okay. Now come to here. We need to declare the file. Here the more important thing is we have the extractors and we have the outputters. Extractors means we will extract the data from the files. You can able to extract data from the database also. Generally, we don't go that approach. We are generally playing with the files only. Here we are using the outputters also. Outputters means we can write the file. Extractors means we can extract the files. I will tell you whatever different types are there. First, you can just see this file. So, for example, I have my input file, okay, in this location. And after I transform the data, I want to put my file into this location. Now I can take as a data refinery SKU. Again, I want to put same file name, but in the different folder location. And here the syntax of the extracting is, here the disadvantage with the usequel is, so for example, I need only 3 columns, but you need to mention all the columns in the extract statement. Otherwise, it will give error. That is the big disadvantage. I see why, because while we are working on the real-time environment, one table they are exposing as a 250 columns. But I only require 3 columns, but I need to extract all the 250 columns. But we have tools are there. I will show you how can you transform all this stuff. Now, okay, I declared here names are whatever we have in the file. I think what I can do is here I can go to Data Explorer. I will show you how you can take the data, all this stuff. Raw. This one I upload from the manual only. Generally, in real-time environments, some sensor or whatever application. Here, so for example, if you want the column names, what we can do is we will take this one. We will go to Excel to avoid the manual mistakes. So what we can do is, if you are 4 or 5 columns, okay, but general practice is just you can go here, just you can copy. What I can do is I will take again this one, Control C. Here I can put as a transpose. You can use a transpose. Then I will get the columns. What I can do is, then I will go to my script here. I will remove this one. Then first I will put this one, and based on the data type. So for example, based on the data, here the string, integer, you can declare integer also as a string, but mostly suitable data types we will use. Now I understand. Now I can declare the data types. Now what I can do is I will go to my this one. Okay, SKDI is a string, name is a string, and order also important. If you change the order, it will fail. This is, I think I make it as INT. I will tell you what is the difference between question mark or without question mark. I will go with without question mark now. That is the syntax only. I will tell you. Item IDs. Just this is, I can make it as string only. H1 category. It will also, I can make it as string. Now definitely, what is our input file? You need to use the @. This is nothing but the row set. I will explain you. Just this is the syntax using extractor. Here we have different parameters are there. Right now my header is there. That is the reason I want to skip the first row. And if it is any quotings are there, it will take that codings as it is. Otherwise, you can make it as a false also. I will show you that one. So for example, okay, I extract the data. Later, I want to transform data. Here you can use any SQL or anything, C# coding or whatever functions available in SQL and C# we can able to use. Here I mentioned star, but what I can do is I want to rename my column names. I don't use this one as it is as in my programming language. So what I can do is SKUID as I can make it as SKUID. Suppose name I can make it as SKU name. This is just column rename. This is one of the transformation, but we use different transformations generally. Now I can make stock on hold. I can make it as stock on hand. Okay, and item IDs. Item IDs as item IDs. H1 category. But in the end output, we don't use as H1 category. We use as a category. So we need to rename. Just we do the transformation. Just here we are rename the columns. Okay, this is one data set, and in the second statement I will use the first data set or first row set, and I will transform and put it into another row set. This is a refined row set. Then I want to export this refined row set to my output file. What is my output file? Data refinery SKU. Here also I am writing as a TSV only. Here you can see this is a TSV. Right now I am handling with the TSV. I think you guys know what I mean by TSV file. Here in that one we will handle TSV, tab separated file, and we will go with the CSV. I think everybody know comma. Comma separated file. Another one is TXT. Everyone know this one as TXT. Mostly we will handle these three types only in the data lake analytics. Mostly we will get the data in the TSV only or CSV only. Some JSON is also there, but mostly we will work with these three only in the data lake analytics. Okay, fine. I will come to here. Then what I can do is this is the syntax of the output file. How to use outputters. This is the 3 lines of the syntax. In the output, first it will expect what is the row set you are going to write into the file, and what is your file location, and what are the types of file you want to generate. Here you can generate either CSV, TSV. You are extracting TSV data. If you want to export this as a CSV, here you can use CSV also. But right now we are taking TSV. We can output as a TSV also. We will play with the different files later. Then another option is based on the job performance. Here we have the chance to change the AUs. For our general practice purpose, we don't change any AUs. Suppose if you make here 6 AUs, they will charge it based on the AUs. What do you mean by AUs? AUs means internally they will allocate memory. Suppose if you go with AU1, they will allocate some memory. If you go with AUs 10, they will allocate more memory. The file will be processed parallelly. You know Hadoop, how it will be done. It will be split and it will be combined and it will give the output. Based on the AUs, the framework will be work like that. If you use more AUs, the work will be split. So like you can assume if AU is 1, it will be only give one node. Suppose if you give AU is 3, it will give the 3 nodes. But we are not sure whether our job will use 3 AUs or not. I am not sure. So we can do here trial and errors, and we have the option. I will show you how to balance the AUs. If you use 10 AUs, but if you don't use 10 AUs, they don't charge for 10 AUs. They will charge for very minimal, but that is not the suggested. Based on our process based on our calculations. We will put the AUs. This one we can programmatically manage by from the Azure Data Factory also. I will show you that one while doing Azure. So for example, here example 1 SKU. Okay, I gave the name as this one. Now if you want to, so for example here you can see if you change the number, I think here you can see cost will also change. For a minute 1 AU, if your job run for 1 minute, they will charge with 1 AU, they will charge 2 rupees 40. If you go with 4 AUs, your charge will be 9 rupees 61. But we need, sometimes we need to process data parallelly. So for example, if you make it as only 1 AU, it will run for 1 hour, or if you make it as 10 AUs, for example, I will tell this scenario. So for example, in that one, suppose in the AUs, you set AU as 1, okay, but the job is taking 60 minutes. Job is taking 60 minutes. How much we can charge? Maybe 60 into 2, 120 rupees we will charge. Okay. Now, so for example, we set the AU as 4. The job will be finished in 10 minutes or maybe 5 minutes. How much they will charge? First of all, 4 into 2 rupees, 8 rupees is equal to 8 rupees. 8 into 5 minutes, it will be 40. Which one is better? You are using more AUs, but here you are charging very less. Don't assume if you set 1 AU, it will charge less. If you set more AUs, it will charge more. No, based on the balance. You need to set the balanced way. Then only the charge will be efficient. So how you can know that one? We need to do some trial and errors, and otherwise tool also will suggest. I will show you that option later. Clear how to use AUs? But in our practice, we only just use 1 AU. We don't use more than that. Why? Because our data don't require any parallel. But in the real time, we require. I will show you in my project how I am using. Clear AUs? Data Lake Analytics so far?
Yes, Surya.
Okay, fine. Now I come back to this one and I will execute our job. Now I will, okay, I don't with 4 AUs. I will with only 1 AU. Don't change this one, just for your understanding. I explain this AUs. I will show you how it is consuming. Now you can submit the job. Then it will be submitted, and left side it will show whether it is a queued, whether it is a, here you can see preparing means internally Microsoft will allocate the memory and the job is preparing. Once preparing, what did you make queued? So for example, you are executing 20 jobs parallelly. Based on their size, it will be take 10 as a batch or 20 as a batch. So we can able to set that one also. For example, you have executed 20 jobs parallelly, 10 will be queued, 10 will be in progress until first 10 are completed. Here I'm getting some error. What is the error? It will tell you can see ash. Anybody can tell what is the mistake I make in the current script?
Code, sir.
Mm,
String character
No,
code.
I missed the comma.
Come
Hmm. Now what I can do is I will go to reuse script. Here you can see I missed this comma. Generally name is a, it suppose if it is showing as a blue color, it is a reserved word or keyword. So generally you can use it, no problem, or otherwise you can enclose it with the brackets. Anyway is fine, no issues. Now I can resubmit my job. Here it will tell what is the progress, what is the AUs we have used. So you used 1 AU, but it won't consume total AU. Maybe they will tell you, and what is the estimated cost. this estimated cost mostly not accurate, or they will show near accurate. And any issues are there, what is the type, what is the run version it is using, who is the submitter, from which account it is, what is the priority, it will tell. Again, I have a issue with in file SKU. Why I am doing these mistakes is, you have to know, that is the reason I am doing. What is the mistake I make here? Okay, fine. I think in my earlier script I have used the infile SKU. This is not declared. Actually, I changed the infile as a different. I think if you go here, you can see I am taking the data from the input file infile SKU, but my input file I changed while writing script. I changed my input file. Clear? Huh? Now what I can do? I will suppose without declare one variable, if you are trying to reuse, it will give error. No? Suppose here what I can do, I need to change my input file. Clear? Now you can check output file SKU. Okay, out file SKU. Here also I use output. Now if you execute, for writing, if you practice 4 or 5 scripts, then you will also be familiar. But the problem is the debugging issue is very difficult in UC. That is the reason how much errors you are getting. We will learn that much. So for example, if I write with very smooth script, you don't see. Why? Because you will copy, and here you can see they are internally. So for example, if you use 2 files while I am doing joining, I will show you how it will be concatenated, how missions will be. Here you can see they will. Okay, it's not completed now. It will tell job graph what stage is going on. Generally in the real time we use multiple files, so that time it will show complete. So here you can see it is not taking any time from the queued. Why? Because we have only one job. For the preparation it will take 18 seconds. For queued it will take 0 seconds. For running it will take 20 seconds. Completely I think it is complete in 38 seconds. Here you can see maybe it needs to charge one for 1 hour, but it charged only for 0.01. It will charge only 1.12 instead of 2.48 something. It charged. But here you can see they are telling the job efficiency is 9%. Why? Because we can't able to set less than 1 AU. This is the only minimal AU. Why? Because the suggesting is you need to put more data. It can able to handle in this 38 seconds. It can able to handle, but this job efficiency 9% means it is not efficiently used the Azure. For example, we are only 5 records we are trying to process. In the real time, we need to set all this efficiency. At least efficiency is more than 60%. I think we are utilizing resources efficiently. Otherwise, we set either AU more and data is very less kind of thing. But data we can't able to play in the real time. Whatever data they are providing, we will take. So only option is we need to set the AUs and AUs only. Now if you go to here, this is the script. What script we have executed will show you. And if you go to data, it will show you what is the input file, what is the output file. Here if you see in the input file SKU, this is the original file, SKU whatever it may be. And if you go to this one here, this is the output file. Here you can see the column names. Here you can see SKU ID, SKU name. I transformed. Just this is a very simple basic transformation. This is required in the output. For example, you can do group by, you can do remove columns, we can replace the columns with another one. All this stuff, whatever transformations we are doing in the ETL, here we can able to do using SQL and C#. Mostly we will use SQL only. Whenever we require, we will C#. They will provide the inbuilt functions, and that functions we can use. Now, here they will give the AU analysis. Here they will, if you run this one, but this is a very smaller one, so that is the reason they didn't provide anything. So for example, here you can see So for example, if it is a more data, if you set 4 or 5 AUs, they will tell what is the AU count is the balanced one, what is the AU count if you choose, they will tell clearly. Suppose if you use it in the real time environment, they will tell. And the custom mostly one, I think they will tell like that. They will tell what is the efficiency, what is the cost. Maybe suppose if I select 4 AUs, they will tell what is the this one. Here this is a very simple job. That is the reason they didn't tell accurately. If you are using 10 AUs, but it is not utilized completely, they will tell. If you use 4 AUs, it is a balanced one. If you use 6 AUs, it is fast. If you use 1 AU, it is customer. Something like that, they will tell. Based on this one, in the real time, generally, we will go with the balanced. Mostly, we will go with the balanced way. Based on what they suggested, we will set the AUs. And based on our analysis also. Diagnostics we don't require. Clear how to transform data using USQL or Azure Data Lake Analytics. Clear or not clear?
Yes, sir. We are clear.
Yes, sir, but we need to
One
check
more
the
thing. Every execution it will take charge.
Every
Yeah.
execution it will take charge. If it is error also they will charge.
Oh, in development, how it is
In the
very different.
development generally we use it this environment only, or otherwise we can able to run this one offline using Visual Studio also.
Okay, okay. There we can
Visual
wrote the
Studio,
code.
yeah, you can use offline also. In the Visual Studio, we don't need to connect to this one. We can use offline. Generally,
Mm.
people don't use that environment. They
Oh,
will this environment only.
okay, sir. Thank you.
so it means, sir,
You
each
can,
and everything.
yes, please.
What I'm asking, sir, each and everything what we are inserting, deleting, replacing, everything will be counting.
No, no. Actually, how much time this job is run, they will charge. Whatever operation, maybe you can extract the data, we can rewrite the file. Whatever you can do, that
Mhm.
one based on the how much time this job is run. For example, if insertion will take 2 seconds, they will charge for that 2 seconds.
So it means depends on the timing, not for our activity.
Depend on the timing. Depend on the timing only.
Okay.
Activity here, activity means internally it will do, but
Uh,
finally it will based on the charge. Only here you can
Timing.
see, they will tell you can for 1 minute they will charge 2.40.
Yeah.
So for example, if you want to see history of the jobs, I will go to again. Here you can go to view all jobs. You can see whatever we have. So for example, first 2 times we are getting errors. If you want to
Yes.
see, I think this will be available for 30 days or something. So for
Okay.
example, here filter are there. So for example, 90 days they will provide mostly. Or that I based on our subscription, after 30 days or 60 days they will remove. After 30 days, if you want to go back, no. For example, here I have the option. I want to see only failed job. It will show the failed jobs only.
It's filter.
Now, if I want to only executed jobs, generally succeed jobs, or in the real time environments, if you're running something, if you want to see what the job is going on, then you can filter. Otherwise, it will show everything. Clear? Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes. Filter is clear.
I will reset. I will done. Here, what we can do is, what I can do is, I will download the script and I will upload it to you. Upload it to the that Google folder. What you can do, just you can first this day and today tomorrow, just you can copy paste. Later onwards, you can try to write. But this one I am suggesting, whatever we can able to, what you can do is you will note down the points like, so for example, generally in the real time very difficult to write all this stuff. What we can do is, okay, I will note down like outputter. What I will do is, generally what I am doing in my projects or in my lifetime, I don't this one. I my mouse is, what I can do is, here I can do, I will save one, I will maintain one code snippet file. I will save like, okay, here column list, I will make it like that. Whenever I want, I will copy this one, I will replace columns. Same like I will, but you have to know what is skip first rows, what is coding. I will explain it, don't worry. And what I can do is outputter also I will copy. Whenever I require, just I will go to my code snippet and I will take. This is, I will note down and I will, whenever I require, I will copy. Whatever functions, better you need to maintain your file. Why? Because we can't able to write every time syntaxes. Very difficult if you want to write all this stuff. Very difficult. Here you can make it as this is like input file name. I think you can make it as this is row set. This is output file. So we need to replace. Just whenever I have the requirement, I will go to my snippet. I will take this one. I will replace. Here declare also if you want. This is very simple. If you want, what I can do is I will copy this one in my code snippet. What I can do is in the third statement, generally in the third statement, declare statement. What you can do is here you can. This is our file. What I can do is here. What I can do is path of the file. Even if I write like this way, if somebody use my snippet also, they can also able to understand. Clear? Huh? You can maintain this type of code snippets. So for example, tomorrow if you are working with the CSV, what we can do here itself, what I can do, I will add like CSV and I will update my first one as a TSV. I will append my code snippet. I will reuse this one whenever I require. Otherwise, every day if you write, it will take more time. But we have to know what properties are there, what we are using, all this stuff. Clear? Huh? You also maintain like a snippet. Your
Yes,
wish
sir.
that one. If you want to write, your wish that's one. Just what I am following, I am telling. Okay, fine. Now we can come back to theory and we will see. Basic, what is the basic ADLS? It is a tool to transform the data. That is the very basic. It will only work with the data lakes. Whatever data lake we have the data, we will use it. Generally in the real time, when we are going to use, for example, in sensors are there. Sensor data no one captured into the databases. What they can do, they will storages. For Azure blob or this one, what we can do, we can use the data, we can use this use SQL script and we will process the data. We will export the data to the once refined data. We will export to the applications like data warehouse or Power BI, whatever they want, any third-party application, those will be accessed. We will show one use case using this one, and we will show another use case in a different way while working with the data factory. But this session will take another 2 to 3 days. I will explain you all the functions. This is the basic. We have here 3 main important topics. One is extractor. In the extractor, we will extract the file. Next one is row set. It is a temporary data set. So for here you can see this raw is a row set. What it holds, whatever data extracted from the files, it holds. What is the refinery? It is a row set. It take the data from this raw row set. And this refinery row set we are exposing out to the output file. This is nothing but the row set. So for example, we are using row sets in our scripts. Row set is a temporary memory. It will hold data for some time. Any programming, I think variable like that we can say in the programming language, we have the data sets, we have the variables. What is the scope of the variable? Maybe it is a local variable within the I think loop only. If you declare outside the loop, the variable scope will be outside the, like that way here also this row sets scope will be whenever it is executing. Once it is execution is done, the scope will be removed. We don't have any data. But here we have the data in the files. Whatever you have executed, if you want to go, you can just go to all jobs. You can, so for example, here you can see here date. So for example, after that one, I replaced this file with the another job. This file won't be available. This will be show you like a new one only. Generally, we don't do like that way, but that is the approach. Okay, fine. Now just you can concentrate on first one is extractor, second one is row set, third one is output. This is the three main basic building blocks in the USQL. And intermediately we will lot of functions, we will transform, we will remove the duplicate records, we will join the data, we will group the data, we will take the max value, minimum value, whatever aggregate functions, whatever string functions, we will concatenation two columns, we will do lot of transformations, whatever we require. So for example, in the ETL, general ETL, what you can do, first we can load the data into stage table. After that one, we will write the stored procedure. In the stored procedure, what we can do, we will transform the data. Here, that one we are using in the USQL. It will only talk with the Azure Data Lake. Only talk with the files like TSV, CSV, TXT. Mostly common used one is the TST. Not sorry, TSV. Common one is the TSV. Okay. Now come back to our theory. Just you can I will read it. Just this is only very understandable only. Azure data analytics along with Azure data lake storage is a key component of Microsoft Azure data lake solution. Currently Azure data lake analytics can be used for batch workloads only, for streaming and event processing workloads. Alternative big data analytics solutions for Azure like HD Insight or Azure Databricks should be used. You can use Azure HD Insight or Azure Databricks also. For example, if you have a file you want to process using Azure Databricks, you can use it. The alternative is also Azure Data Lake Analytics. Azure Data Lake Analytics introduced a new big data query and processing called USQL. USQL combines the concepts and constructs both of SQL and C#. This is a new scripting language using both SQL and C#. So for example, if you want to TSQL, you can't able to C#, use C#. But here we have the capability. Even if you have some libraries in the C#, we can able to reuse. For example, something we can't able to do with the whatever providing functions. If you want to write some custom function, you need to write that custom function in the C#. We can able to call that C# function also. The power of USQL comes from the simplicity and declarative nature of the SQL with the programming power of C#, including rich types and expressions. For example, if you want to handle array type of variables, now in the SQL also we can able to, but very difficult. But here you can able to. Suppose you are getting the data in array type, you can able to. The data type is also there. USQL operates on unstructured data stored in the files and provides a schematized view of the top of it. It also provides a general metadata catalog system very similar to relational databases for structured data. You can able to do anything. USQL is a big data query and processing language for Azure Data Lake Analytics. Here you can see big data query and processing language. It's a new language created by Microsoft especially for Azure Data Lake Analytics. They created the SQL. They used the whatever in behind logic for SQL and C#. They combined and they created this SQL for this data lake analytics. USQL combines SQL like declarative language with the programming power of C#, including C# rich types and expressions. USQL provides the familiar big data processing concepts such as schema and read, lazy evaluation, custom processor, and reducers. I think this reducers and custom processor Hadoop concepts. For example, whenever you are processing the data, it will be split and whatever it may be, they will internally, that one internal stuff only. Coming to this one, same like some of the other features. USQL scripts follow the familiar extract, retrieve, transform, and load output pattern. ETL pattern, basically ETL pattern. We need one input file. After that, we will transform and we will put it into the output. Used by other big data language like Spark or Pig or Scala If you have write some program language in the Python, if you want to run, we like that way we can use the SQL also. It can extract data from the text files, both structured and unstructured, semi-structured files like JSON or XML, and tables. JSON and XML I don't show. Why? Because I haven't a chance to work on this too. Only mostly we will use TSV, or some scenarios we will use the CSV or TXT. So for example, we are getting the JSON data. What we can do is we will transform the data into either CSV or TXT using some tools in the programmatic. We did like that way. We are not using JSON to processing the data. I will show you that example also. We did some automation. How we did, I will show you. Generally, JSON also we can able to hear, but syntax is all very difficult. So what I can do is I can transform the JSON data into TSV or CSV. Generally not TSV. We can go. We can transform to TXT or CSV. We can use this USQL. USQL imposes a schema while retrieving unstructured data from the files. This helps in performing SQL-like operations or retrieve. Here you can see row set is the primary data structure of USQL. It's used across for extracting data from input file or table and performing transformation as well as writing output destination. Here you can see I clearly explain you in the, if you go to script, here I have explained you. This is the one of the row set we are while doing extraction. This is another reset, another, this is another. Now you can see row sets are unordered, with helps Azure Data Analytics Engine to parallelize the processing using multiple processors. For example, I am extracting 5 files. I have declared 5 row sets, one for file 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Suppose if I use 5 AUs, these 5 AUs will be run on the 5 machines, not on the single machine. They will split basically. We will show that one also. USL scripts can use types, operators, and expressions from C#. USQL scripts are use SQL constructs like select, where, join, and other data definition language and data manipulation language. All keywords must be written in uppercase only. This is the restriction. If you use here, so for example, if you use select small case, it will give error. If you give from also small case, it will give error. The rule is whatever keywords you need to write in the uppercase only. Here you can even declare also, declare, extract from using. Only this is data types only exception. Data types you can use it as small case, whatever, but keywords you need to write in only uppercase. That is the restriction. Now supports control flow constructs like if else. If else also it will support, but don't support while or for loop. It won't support for loop or while. It will only support if else only. Now coming to next, this the syntax is how we need to use. So for example, here if you see how we are ending the every statement, this is must, otherwise it will give error. We need to end every statement use a colon. Otherwise, so for example, if I remove this one, it will give error. I will show you. Meanwhile, we will see that will give. Here you can see literal prefix how to use, and keywords you can use uppercase, and rule how to break, and it will support this occurrences. So for example, wildcard characters. For example, that wildcard character, I will give you the example. Wildcard characters, so for example, we can use as a star, like the kind of thing. So for example, I have a folder. I have a employee 1, employee 2, employee 3. Like that way, I have files like 100. I don't go with each and every file. I can't able to give each and every file, and I can't able to process. What I can do is I will use the wildcard character. I will process all the files with using single statement. We will see this example also while doing labs. Okay, clear? Wildcard character. We are repeating. So for example, in the for each also, how many times we want to loop data, same like we are using wildcard character, we will use the here also. So for example, same folder, if you have CSV files, TSV files. So for example, in the same folder, you can assume we have TSV, we have CSV, we have text files, but only I want TSV. We can able to take all, we can play with this wildcard characters using. I will show you how to use wildcard character while writing the scripts. Any other rule? All are okay, fine. This is just, you can read it here. Whatever I have discussed so far, we have built-in extractors, we have built-in outputters. Here they are also providing only, these are the standard ones only. If you want to tackle JSON or XML, we need to write the C# program, then we can call that one. They don't provide the default extractor or outputter to handle other than these three types. So for example, if you have a CSV file, you need to use the extractor CSV. For example, you are trying to extract CSV data, you are using the TSV, it will give error. Why? Because internally they will build the mechanism like that. Like that way here, while using CSV, TSV, we are providing some parameters, but these parameters are not work for all extractors or all outputters. For example, if you take delimiter, TSV, CSV, it won't take. Why? Because what do you mean by TSV? Table separate file. So internally they make it as delimiter as a
Table or tabs?
tab separated only. Sorry, tab separated. They make it as a tab separated only. So it won't allow. They specifically designed for CSV. You are expecting CSV file in the tab only. Suppose CSV. What is the CSV comma separated file? So it won't take delimiter. But while working with the text you can use comma separator, tab separator, or pipe separator. So in that scenario, we will use the delimiter. Like some parameters only specific to some extractor or some outputters only, not all, but generally we will use the skip first 10 rows. We will use in the real time delimiter whenever we are dealing with the text extractor. We will use the delimiter and encoding also. So for example, CSV ANSI 18, 20, or UF 80, UF 16, some encoding mechanism there. Default it will handle, but mostly we don't use encoding. If necessary, we have the option. Escape character. What is, so for example, if null to quoting, if it is quoting, how you can remove the quotes. So for example, your data is enclosed with the double quotes, it will be removed. Row delimiter also only specific for text only. It won't work for the other CSV and TSV. Like that way, silent also I will explain you. Mostly we will use the delimiter, quoting, silent, and skip first 10 rows. I will show you. So for example, here I'm using, here you can see I told you what is the error. Here you can see, okay, this place it is giving error means here we are missing the colon. Error it won't give properly. Here you can see expected one of the something colon. Now what we can do, we will go to this one, we will correct it and we will run. Clear? Huh? Tomorrow onwards we will use different functions and different use cases. Mostly I will cover tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday. Friday, Saturday I will cover most of the examples. Today what you can do is you will play with, I will upload the script. What you can do, you can use while doing output, just input you can use same folder. Once it is done, I will show you. And name also, example 1 underscore SKU underscore, you can append your name underscore whatever name you prefer. That will don't conflict. I anyhow if you run, no problem, I can able to check. But my suggestion is you can work like this way. So for example, what you can do is, okay, I will explain here only. I think it will be script name. You can make it as whatever I am providing. You can just append it with, so for example, here, example one, I make it as SK, just you can append with your name. So for example, in my case, I will append with Surya. You can append with Venu, Abrar, whatever. Input file, you can use same file, no problem. But while doing output file, just you can append with here. So for example, why? Because input file, we don't do anything, but output file, in the output file, you can practice like, just you can append here underscore here Surya. That just to give the difference. Otherwise, you are working on the same file, someone is working on some same file, that will be overlay or right now. So just you can use like this way. Clear? Huh? I will upload the script to the our Google Drive. Just how I can take the script. Just what I can do is I will do save as. It will be come to my downloads. Like you see, here you can see. Here you can see file type is the uSQL file. You see. Just you can open this one. Just right click in the notepad. Just copy this. So for example, if I expand this, what I can do is open with notepad. What you can do is just you can copy and you can paste this one in the data lake analytics project and you can run. Just you can give the name. Just you can paste it.
Yes, Suresh.
Clear? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have
Just
already
yes, Narendra.
you have already a uSQL file, so we want to run that file from our local system.
Not your local system, using your here only you can able to run. In the local system you can't able to, here only. But my suggestion is just you can take this one, otherwise you can take from here also. This is also will be visible to you. I think if you go to refresh all jobs, from here also you can able to take. Otherwise what you can do is just you can go to this service, you can click on new job. I will explain you. Just click on new job. So for example, Narendra, you are working on that one. What you can do is, sorry, here you can make as I suggest, you can take this one. Just your just what I can do is here, just you can change to just you can use same name, but it will be conflict. Multiple people if working, that's a problem. Na? Same file you are working. Na? Suppose what you can do is, what I suggest, you can take the script, whatever I have uploaded in the portal. Here only change, just you can change it to Narendra. But you need to read, okay, we have declared the input file, we have declared the output file. This is the extract statement. It read the data from the input
Sir,
file. Just
I'm, I'm just asking, you
mm,
saved one file, like
mm.
saved as you downloaded that file in your
Yeah,
download folder.
this one I will upload
Can
to Google Drive.
can
You can download.
can you import this file into
No,
system
no option, no
directly?
option, no,
You,
no,
you
no
have to
import
copy
option.
and paste.
Only copy paste. No import option here.
Okay.
I think open file is there. I didn't try. Maybe it will work. Oh, okay. We will see that one. First, this way you can practice. I think we will see that way also. Import option also we will see. I think open file will work. I didn't try it so far. Just understand how to practice. Later you can play with some errors. So for example, you can uncomment this one. You can remove this one. Just you can play with some errors and you can see. Okay.
Okay.
This is the right now example. And one more. I told you, can you bear another 5 minutes?
Yeah, yes, sir. Not an issue.
Yeah, fine, good. So for example, I will show you one file in the portal. Very interesting this one. I think here you can see I declared int, nowhere I am providing value. So for example, if the string null value, don't bother, it will handle. But if it is integer, decimal, date time, if it is a null, it will give error. I will show you 1 minute. Whatever here I provide the SKU test, here you can see this value is null. Okay, now what we can do, same columns, everything is same, file only difference SKU test is I make this as a null. We will see how it will, our script will work for this one or not. What I can do is I will rename file, just I will take the file name, cancel, I will go to this one, here I will change my SKU. Okay, we will run this one. How, what will happen, we will see. Basically you will get this type of errors in the real time. Any questions so far? Not only use SQL, not only Azure Data Links, if you have any on the storage or any on the Azure SQL, just please read my PPT for the interview questions. Mostly whatever questions they will ask, I try to write here. Not question format. This will be a this subject oriented. Just you can cross question yourself. For example, here DTU. In DTU, how many options are there? Standard, basic, premium. Like that way. Okay, anyhow, we will discuss interview questions in 1 or 2 sessions at the end. I think I heard from the last batch, they have the questions whatever we have discussed in our class only. Or otherwise you can check with Pradeep attended 2 or 3 interviews. You can ask what questions you are facing in the interviews. Any questions other than SAR class or not. Just you can check with him. But the problem is they are not able to answer. So that is the reason I am requesting you guys, just you can practice daily and you can try to understand the concept. For example, here I am telling, here you can see, no one will tell us this worst case scenarios. This is the, in the project, you will face this kind of issues. That is the reason I'm telling you first field case. If you, so for example, go with only execution phase, you will don't learn anything. If you go with errors, then only you will correct, then that will be good for you. Here you can see, after processing 5 records, the vertex input split. The generally it will give error column data type. It's null, it's can't able to convert into the integer. Here you can see, now I will correct the script I told you. So for example, whenever you are declaring integer date, or I will write it here. So for example, whenever you are declaring integer or decimal or date or date time, use the question mark. If any null value is there, internally it will handle. So for example, now what I can do is I will correct the script and I will make it as question mark. Then I can name this one is a example 2 SKU null handling. Okay, after that one I will download. Now you can see. Okay, it will, we will see. Meanwhile, what we can do here, you can declare that way. Okay, lot of functions are there, but you need to, basic ones are enough. I think my suggestion is you can prepare your snippet like that way, and just you can see my script, don't copy paste. You can take snippets and you can try to, so for example, columns have extracted. So tomorrow we have 250 columns. So for example, here what I can do is, generally I can't able to write string for each and everything. What I can do is, generally here you can use the power of Excel. Just you can use A4. This is development techniques. I can use some space. I can append string. What I can do is I will do this way, and I will take this one. I will put it into the my script, and I will change only one data type, that is this one is as integer. So for example, if you have 250 columns or 300 columns, type, that is very taking a lot of time. So you can use some techniques like this way. Okay, fine. Clear? It will be, so for example, if you input file, you can see I'm getting null value. I can able to properly handle SKU Narendra. Clear? What is the use of question mark? Now I can make it as this also. Download. Any questions so far? Clear?
Yes, Surya.
Fine? Huh? Just
Yes,
practice.
yes,
Only
I should.
practice is required. Everyone. And one more, if you have any questions, just you can ask. So for example, if you are facing any configuration issue, if you are facing any file access, or you can't able to do, I will like try to solve your problem. If you want, you can discuss in this forum. That will be useful for others also. Otherwise, you can ping me, and I will help you personally also. Okay, but try to
Yesterday,
ping me before 12, or
yesterday
otherwise
class.
after 9. Hello.
Sorry, yesterday class you uploaded in Drive.
I uploaded, I think yesterday night, I think so, 9 or 8. Why? Because yesterday actually the problem I stuck with completely in my production
Okay.
issue. Only for
Okay.
class SQL I come out from that one, and I delivered yesterday. That is the
Okay.
reason I uploaded. I think 1 minute. Right away I will upload. I think here only. I will Gmail. I uploaded yesterday. Don't worry. This video, it will take some time. Why? Because they don't provide immediately. After 10 minutes they will provide. I will
Okay.
upload. Meanwhile, I will
Okay.
upload this files anyhow. Files are there here. Files are in the portal only. Input files.
I will.
I
I
think
will take.
input files don't require. If you want, you can download. No problem. In the Gmail, right? Is everyone understanding the concepts, or anyone is feeling some difficulty?
Yeah, I am good, Surya. Yesterday, little bit confusion. That's why I need to recall. That's why I'm watching
Actually,
that
the
video.
problem is SQL. Don't bother about the SQL.
Yeah, yeah.
Only
Today
we
we
will
are
that, yeah. Only we will that you can use as a
data
database
factory.
only.
Okay.
No, database only. So for example, we use the like whatever the database we have used, but different flavors are there. Just you can read it and try to answer the
Yes.
questions. Just what
Yes.
flavor.
Yes.
Otherwise, if you have confusion, I think maybe yesterday I have also some in a hurry mode, so I explained in a very quick way. So maybe that is also another problem. Maybe. Okay, if you have not clear, we will go through that one also. I think we will
Yeah.
create. Okay. I
Yeah. I
think
will
don't
read.
pause. You can
You tell
recall.
me.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, my suggestion is we will anyhow do that session, another session while working with the ADF. Okay.
ADF.
That time anyhow we
Yeah.
will create.
Sure. Thank
Don't don't problem that one. I think here in the yesterday I uploaded at around day 5. I uploaded actually. Okay, na? Day 5 I uploaded. Day 6 today I will upload, no problem. And meanwhile I upload files. I upload this latest file, whatever I have saved. New file upload. Great training. And what we can do is keep updating. Here we will create new folder, use SQL. In the SQL, we will upload files. New file upload. Downloads. Just practice these two scripts, but don't use too many times. Just only you can try and leave it. Otherwise, credits will be consumed. Just you can try 1 or 2 times. One is like error. One is in a good way. Okay, I think that's it. I think for this, I will stop recording. I think it will take 10